Never joke, never joke, never joke. Oh, money, never, money, never, money, money, never, money, money. I don't want you conniving, money, money, never, money, never, money, money, never, money, money. You can keep your conniving, money. When you've been knocked for a bum, and I will tell me money. Now because your money done, you come with conniving money. When you had your pocket full, and I will tell me money. Now because your money done, you hustle for tell me money. Yes, money, neighbor, money, neighbor, money, money, neighbor, money, money. Now I don't want you conniving money. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. That's all the money that me walk for. A 2 pound note and a kill the piece. A 2 pound note and a kill the piece. A 2 pound note and a kill the piece. This all the money that me walk for. I said money, neighbor, money, neighbor, money, money, neighbor, money, money. I don't want you conniving money. Oh, Joseph.
place. Morning. Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. It is 7 hours 23 on the 20th day of February in the year 2023. I got some things to talk about. We have enough nastiness to talk about this morning. I am scared. You ever frighten yourself? Yeah, I'm afraid of myself. Please share the live. I'll share the live. Good morning. Share the live, folks. Share the live. Welcome. How was your weekend? Y'all had a good weekend? I hope you had a good weekend. I hope, I'm encouraging. I hope y'all make some money from your side hustle. Whatever your skills, whatever you are good at, I hope you utilized it over the weekend and you made some money. As money makes the world go wrong, and people with money, in the Guyanese society, got a whole lot of power. And if we send power to the people, we got to ensure that people make money. If you're rich and well-to-do in this society, you could do almost anything you like, you know. Almost anything you like, you could do. You only got to know who to pay. Right? You only have to know who to pay. You can get 10, 20, 50 acres of land for private development while thousands of people are waiting the allocation of house lot if you know who to pay. It's pay to play. If you can't pay, you can't play. Right? And so if you want to play in this society, you got to ensure a lot of things. Number one, I didn't make enough money so you could behave as ignorant as them who got money. Number two, you get political friends who got access to money and political power so they could defend you and protect you from all your deeds. Or number three, you take political power. Right? Those are some of the things you can do to have a face in this society. Look at it for yourself. Analyze it for yourself. I'm not happy this morning. I'm scared. I'm scared of myself. I'm afraid. Sometimes you see people walk away from a fight. According to one man, he said not fear, you know. It's experience. I think Dr. Hines has said that a number of times. It's not fear, you know. Not fear that's make you walk away, you know, it's experience. Because you know yourself and you know where it could end up. This morning I'm asking, where are the African Guyanese men especially in this society? Where are the black men in this society? Do we have black men in this society? Do we have African Guyanese men in this society? You know, growing up, you always hear that part of the challenges of the African Guyanese society is that the men are never present. Or for the greater part, the men abandon their women and children. Black man like skin cock. Black man like knock blackboard. Black man like sport. But they now look after them picnic. They now look after them family. Those are the courses we always hear. Those are the courses we are accustomed to hearing. There's a stereotype a lot of us grow with. And in this highway, in this time, in this era, in 2023, sometimes you're forced to want to believe that black men are really absent from the African Guyanese community. Our men are really absent and docile. And lazy and incompetent. They want to believe it. Because when you look across this society, and you see the injustices that are being meted out to black people, and you're seeing no retaliation, no pushback by our black men especially, you want to ask, where are our men? The woman is in the forefront of everything. The woman not wearing the pants. The woman got more bars than our men nowadays. Can't our men look around and see, take examples from other men in the Caribbean as to how men should behave in defense of their families and their people? Instead of set of them behaving like wussy, like gal, when you're growing up, and boys are not behaving like boys, they say it's a gal or what? It's like this thing that ducking and hide. Push the woman to the front. If they're even present there to have an interaction with the woman. This morning I'm saying it is time the African nation rise up. It is time black men, African Guyanese men, show some allegiance to the African Guyanese nation, to the African Guyanese women and children. Because unless we show that allegiance to our African Guyanese women and children, we are leaving out there. We are leaving them out there to be taken advantage of by other men in the society. I'm going to get very lewd this morning. I'll listen to this lewdness. Because it is a reality, it is a statement that was uttered. And while people consider it lewd, it's a reality. Our African Guyanese women, our African Guyanese men have left the gate open to the extent that Indo-Guyanese men can look at them in the face and say, ah, boy, I will fuck black woman now. It's an expletive, excuse me for it, I have to use it because it's a statement. That is a statement of power. We got power over you. There was a time when an Indian man dare not even think about approaching an African Guyanese woman to tell you also share your Swahili because she self would put it in place. Not to mention the fear of our black brothers getting in his face. But now they're saying it openly, brazenly, boldly. I'm a top black woman backside in public. Because what? African Guyanese men have left the gates open. They left it open. They abandoned their posts to be bagmen of rich Indian businessmen, to be friends and cronies with Indian politicians, all for what? A pittance. All for a pittance. And on a daily basis, you could see this abandonment costing the African Guyanese society more and more and more. There was a time when Indo-Guyanese interfered with African Guyanese while they were passing through their villages, etc. They had to look forward to and be afraid of reprisal. Now they're doing it with immunity. There was a time when an African Guyanese passing through enterprise, for example, they would tell you left the by because if I would trouble them, then boxing people would come. Right? Then boxing people would come. There was a time when Indo-Guyanese dare not take advantage on African Guyanese in any part of this country because they feared reprisal. All African Guyanese villages would stand up and defend those who are being taken advantage of. But it's a different time now. Indo-Guyanese, Kuli people are doing the gods to black people without the fear of reprisal. Why? Because the African Guyanese men have abandoned their posts and their position. They might be seen in families, but are they really functioning in families? Are they protectors of the family? As socialization has taught us, are they protecting their family? Or are they protecting those very Indian Guyanese men and their families instead of protecting their own? I can't come out and stand up on the side of black people because I'm working with a coolie man. There's a coolie man yard service I'm working with, so I can't stand up on the side of black people when advantage is being taken of them. I can't stand up on the side of black people when advantage is being taken of them because I got to live. It's coolie people that's give me money. So you abandon the African community, you abandon the African cause, you abandon the protection of your African children. Because your source of money is a coolie man, an Indian man. Well, because of that attitude, there's no safe space for our children anymore. During the 2020 election fallout, the East Berbice Indians attacked school buses. They injure our children. They traumatize them. Nothing was done about that to right the wrong. That's over the weekend. Word came that they invaded a school. The video did the disappearing actor. We are finding it back, don't worry. You see that chaos there? You see that chaos? I'm going to read a statement from the desk of Natasha Singh Lewis, Shadow Minister of Education, dated the 18th of February. Racial attacks on school children in Region 5. On the 17th of February 2023, during instructional period, the peace of Woodley Park Secondary School was disturbed by some residents of Woodley Park Village, West Coast, Berbice. During this disturbance, which was a continuation of a similar occurrence on the 16th of February 2023, on the entrance streets to the school, Afro-Guyanese students were physically assaulted and verbally abused, as seen in a video emanating from parents of students of the above-mentioned school. Persons were seen armed with pieces of wood walking around the compound of the school as parents and teachers confronted the intruders in the presence of students. In the said video recording, one student complained to a teacher that he was cuffed. Subsequently, photographs from parents sent to Member of Parliament Mr. Vincroy Jordan showed that the severity of physical injuries to the hands, feet, and head of the affected students. One parent stated on her Facebook page, quote, "After physically abusing the children, they said, 'This is a coolie area. Black man is supposed to be here.'" End quote. While parents and teachers tried their utmost to put the intruders out of the compound, they vowed in the presence of all to return after lunch on Friday, 17th of February, 2023. This matter was then reported to the Department of Education, Region 5, while the parents reported the matter to the police. It is reported that as the villagers promised to return the following day, a larger gang of villagers converged at the school and attacked only Afro-Guyanese students, this time causing bodily injuries, disrupting school sessions for the remainder of the day by entering the school compound half-dressed and consuming alcoholic substances. There was no security guard at the school. A follow-up on the reports made by teachers and parents made at the Fort Wellington police station indicated that no arrests were made. Senior officials of the school visited the education department seeking immediate help, but at that time no education officer was present to give guidance, while the regional education officer could not be reached by telephone. The Ministry of Education, through the Department of Education, has failed to visit the school or the affected children and parents so as to give guidance on this matter. This leaves the parents and teachers with more questions of their safety and security, of their well-being both at school and while traversing the community to get to school. Member of Parliament Vincent Jordan met and spoke with several teachers, parents and students who all expressed fear for their lives and safety at school. To date, the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Home Affairs have not visited the affected persons nor issued a statement on the matter. We are therefore calling on the Ministers of Education and Home Affairs to immediately investigate this matter and put mechanisms in place so as to ensure that instructional periods are not further disturbed and the parents and students can feel safe returning to school. We believe that the Rights of the Child Commission, as an independent body, has an active role to play in this particular matter, in ensuring they advocate for the rights and interests of children and the young people affected in this heinous crime. Further, we wish to call on the Ethnic Relations Commission, which has a constitutional function to foster a sense of security among all ethnic groups, while encouraging and promoting the understanding, acceptance and tolerance of diversity in all aspects of national life, and promoting full participation by all ethnic groups in the social, economic, cultural, and political life of the people, and to investigate and report on matters contrary to this function. We call on the Ethnic Relations Commission to investigate this matter and make the findings of this matter public. We vehemently condemn the actions of some residents of Woodley Park, West Coast Berbice. That is, assault causing bodily harm and emotional abuse to our students in school at Woodley Park Secondary School, and causing public terror in the community. The non-action of the PPPC administration and the police is sending the wrong signal and might very well encourage the further terrorizing of the affected children and embolden the aggressors. It should also be noted that the act of terrorizing one ethnic group will exacerbate racial tension and does not augur well for the ethnic unity, Y'all heard the statement, y'all saw the video. I got one thing to say. I ain't calling on no Ministry of Education to do anything. I ain't calling on the Home Affairs Ministry to do anything. I am not calling on the police to do anything. They know their roles. The fact that none of them responded to complaints and reports from parents and teachers at the police station and at the Department of Education since the first time this thing happened, and there were no steps taken to secure the children for the second time when the hooligans tried to go and terrorize them. I ain't got no time with Ministry of Education and Home Affairs Ministry. I'm calling on black people everywhere because the assaults were on black people, children. Stand up and defend your children, since those at Woodley Park know is a coolie area. And black man is supposed to do it. Black people must stand up in the area and say it's a black man here and coolie man is supposed to do it. I said Friday, and I think it was Friday, I said it when I addressed in some Brong, whatever Brong her name is. And I want her to come here this morning and tell me about peace and peaceful coexistence again. I want her to come and tell me don't promote violence when violence is being meted out to our children in Woodley Park. I said it before. I believe in an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. If black people, children cannot go to a school located in an Indian community in comfort and in peace and without being traumatized and terrorized, Kuli people picnic must go to school in black area. Kuli people picnic must go to school in black area. If it's segregation you want, then broke up and done. Broke up and done. You know, for too long as a people, the African Guyanese in this country believe that integration serves us. I believe we can coexist peacefully. I believe in peaceful coexistence. I don't think we need to integrate. And since the people were sitting in the seat of power, see not even one peaceful coexistence, then let me just broke up and done. Black men and women must march on schools. Like Indian men and women can march on schools and nothing comes out of it, black men and women must march on schools. Just to demonstrate how idiotic and how dangerous it can be in this society. When those who are sitting in power preaching one Guyana are allowing their comrades and their supporters and their courts and whoever else to continue to take guys and pass one set of people in this society. The African Guyanese need to form themselves into a group, into an organization, into whatever I want to call it, to defend themselves. Whether it calls for bearing arms legally or illegally, black people must defend themselves in this society. Where are the black men? Where are the fathers of those children who were beaten up at Woodley Park? Traumatized at Woodley Park for 2 days? Where them daddy there? You mean none of them can take one for the team? None of y'all ain't got a gumption to run into Woodley Park and make an example of Tukuli? They always try to tell people in this society that black people were responsible for the racial strife and the riots and all of that. My understanding of history tells differently. Those who want to be fair will tell you that the fallout of the 60s was a result of Indo-Guyanese advantaging African Guyanese. My history tells me it was a husband and wife, I think, that were murdered at the back of one of those villages on the farms that started the racial conflagration, let me call it, in the 60s. And if nothing was learned from then, or black people become so soft from then that they're going to continue to get poked in their eyes, I say something wrong with me. Something has to be wrong with us. Why do we as a people want to sit back and allow our children to continue to be taken advantage of? And we're not standing in a defense. The other day was one of his name's son at QC, with that arrogant judge. And his team of hooligans who went in there and assaulted that child. Former chief education officer. Couldn't stand in defense of his child. Previously, school bus was attacked by hooligans in Berbice again. Nobody paid the price of that. As a matter of fact, I read another report where the same arrogant judge went to St. Stanislas and exhibited his racism. Nobody paid the price for that. And now in Woodley Park, you got scums of the earth terrorizing your children and telling them this one cool here, your black man get right here. So what do you do to say to those in Woodley Park and across this country, if you are going to continue to create this kind of strife, we got the answer for it. Wait on Priya Manichan to make a statement. Have you heard a statement from Priya Manichan? Wait on Brock up Ropes and Ben. The PPP footstool, the talk Negro. You all heard any statement from him? Are you going to sit and tell yourself that action is going to be taken by you just sitting? Action will only be taken when people realize that other people's lives are at risk. And when people realize that it's only not one set of people could bleed. African men, black men, fathers, brothers, uncles in this society, I'm saying, band yourselves together in defense of the black nation. Band yourself together in defense of the black nation. Let these people understand that you could defend your people. Ever so often I hear about all them ex-soldiers, all them black ex-soldiers who was major and who was this and who was that and who achieved this and who laid down in front helicopter craft for going to fight Suriname. Where are these ex-soldiers? Where are these militarily trained men? Stop living in the glory of the past. You have a battle to fight now. Band yourselves together and fight this battle in Apartheid Guyana. Because all are involved and all will be consumed. I ain't care who I got to court. I ain't care who I got to the police. By the time the court ready for rule or the police ready for intervene, too many of us will be dead. It is best we die on our feet, fighting. Wanted bulletin was issued last week for 12 African Guyanese men from Golden Grove area. Because of a protest. They call them terrorists. They issued bulletin for them anti-terrorism, blah, blah, blah. They've been charged. And that's not what those charges are yet. But they've been charged. It's likely that they will make a court appearance today, or certainly in this week. Do you expect that this corrupt and criminal apartheid government will ensure that those who terrorize our children in Woodley Park get similar charges to terrorism? Don't hold your breath. Because they're black. Them a coolie in one coolie area. And according to them, black man a get right there. And since black man a get right there, but black man alone can get charged with terrorism. I think the time has come for black man to really be terroristic. So some people get sense in this society. Where are our black men? Where are the fathers of these children? Where are the husbands of these teachers? Black people, I'm saying it again. In every black community, as far as I understand, you could find a whole set of illegal guns with black man threatening to kill Matty with it. You want somebody to go and brandish a gun pun? Find the terrorists. They say steel sharpens steel. I have no apologies for my position, none whatsoever. If black people children cannot go to school in an Indian area comfortably, then Indian people children must not go to school in an African area comfortably. Let me shut down the schools. Let us shut down the schools until somebody gets some sense. They're pushing me out the public service. They're pushing me out the private sector. Now they're pushing you all out education too. And we sitting back and accept that? Something has got to be wrong with us. Something has got to be wrong with us. Black people, black man, black fathers, black brothers, black uncles, grandfathers. The time is now to stand in defense of your children and your nation. Them Kuli people are as bold as they are because they tell themselves they got all these paramilitary groups masquerading as security services on the side. They tell themselves that the PPP got all them stupidity black man in the Guyana police force and the Guyana defense force covered on the side. So black people don't get nobody to defend them. Black fathers, form your own defense. Form your own defense. It is a sacred duty. This is terrorism. I want y'all to see it again. This is terrorism. And people must be made to pay the price.
Not gonna copy, right? The big not gonna copy, right? guess it.
You know what would have been the appropriate response? When the threat was made on the 16th, black men should have turned up at the school with their children on the 17th. So the aggressors would know that they have a confrontation to deal with. Can anybody identify the leader of this gang? Identify the leader of the gang. And set an appropriate example, so that nobody will dare to try it again. That's how you stop bypass. You get beat up at school as little boy, you wait in front of the gate till the bad man pass and you run out and you get tackled. And when you don't dress you up in front of the gate, you go to school the next day. And the cycle could continue. Knock, get knocked back. And black people must start knock back. As a matter of fact, if you anticipate people gonna knock you, knock them first. I ain't got no apologies to that. You anticipate they're gonna mash you, mash them first. Don't wait to get mashed. Everything we run and we complain. Everything we issue a statement. Statements ain't making no sense. Everything we bring to the eyes of the international community, it ain't making sense. And since nobody in here remember first bell ring, let it hear second one. Let it hear second one. The blood got spill, it got spill, man. Like I usually say, I know they're going to come. Let it come. We cannot sit back as a people and accept this. No, 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 no. Are we living up to the claim that the most docile black people were sent to Guyana? Huh? Are we out to prove that Guyana got a set of docile black people? That all of this can be done to us and we ain't retaliating? I am just sick and tired of this. I'm saying black men, fathers, brothers, uncles, cousins, grandfathers, wherever you class yourself, band yourselves together and defend your people. Take an example to the Surinamese. Take a page out of the Surinamese book. Right? When the international community can pay attention, is when bloodshed starts. When you go to the emergency unit, they got a thing that says if you're bleeding, you're in emergency. If you're bleeding, when you go to the emergency unit, the first set of people they look at are those who are bleeding. And dependent on the severity of the wound and bleeding and so on. So if you want the international community look into your interest, maybe people got bleed. All of you not going to survive. All of you not going to die either. But maybe we can get a semblance of respect and fairness that will lead to peaceful coexistence in this country. That's all I want to tell you. It's 5 minutes past 8. Suriname had major protests last week. Y'all know why? Y'all will be surprised. Chantoki, another Indian man in government, Santoki, decided that he was going to withdraw some kind of subsidy from the Surinamese. And they in turn decided, we're going to stand for this nonsense. We're not accepting it. We're not going to accept it. And so he had a big protest. I hope some of you have seen the videos, because I'm just going to read from the Associated Press, their report, dated February 17th. Paramaribo, Suriname. Hundreds of demonstrators stormed Suriname's parliament, broke windows and looted nearby businesses Friday to protest high fuel and electricity prices in the South American nation. Protesters in the capital, Paramaribo, overwhelmed the police, who had fired tear gas to try to control the crowd. It wasn't immediately clear if there were injuries in the melee. The protesters demanded the resignation of President Chandrika Prasad Santoki, who recently ended the state's subsidies for fuel and electricity on the recommendation of the IMF. Demonstrators also were upset about inflation in the prices of other basic goods and the weakening of the Suriname dollar. Authorities condemned the attack and said those responsible would be brought to justice. Quote, "The government respects everybody's right to protest, but will not tolerate actions like the ones demonstrated today," end quote, Santoki's administration said in a brief statement. Excuse me. Wow. At least 2 labor unions called for strikes that prompted banks, ports, and schools to shut down. The protest in the capital ended by early Friday afternoon, with calm returning to the streets. The change in subsidies policy also has led to turmoil within the government. On Wednesday, members of the Suriname National Party withdrew from the ruling coalition of Santoki, who is from the Progressive Reform Party. Protesters on Friday also were demanding the resignation of Vice President Ronnie Brunswick of the General Liberation and Development Party. Right? That's the Associated Press. Reuters tells us that protesters stormed Suriname's parliament as anti-austerity rally turns chaotic. Paramaribo, February 17th, Reuters. Dozens of protesters forced their way into Suriname's parliament as hundreds more rampaged through the capital, Paramaribo, on Friday, clashing with police as demonstrators against the government descended into chaos. Demonstrations against the government descended into chaos. Thousands took to the streets in initially peaceful demonstrations against government austerity measures, including the elimination of subsidies against a backdrop of high inflation. But the protests turned ugly when demonstrators throwing rocks and bottles at police stormed the parliament's grounds, with some making their way into the building before being forced back. A Reuters witness said police fired tear gas in return. Others started fires and looted shops, many of which had closed as a precaution amid the unrest. The government of President Chan Santoki condemned the violence, saying in a statement it had set up a task force to track down those responsible for attacking Parliament. Santoki's office urged citizens to avoid downtown and busy locations, saying there had been 50 arrests, quote, and this number will continue to rise. The U.S. Embassy in Paramaribo condemned the attack on the National Assembly building and related violence in a statement, calling the incidents an, quote, unacceptable assault on democracy, end quote. Suriname's Ministry of Economy, Entrepreneurship and Technological Innovation advised businesses owners to shut their premises on Friday and Saturday due to safety concerns. 5 business associations advised the community to remain closed until further notice, saying in a statement that, quote, security forces were insufficiently prepared for the escalation, end of quote, of violence. Suriname, a former Dutch colony in northern South America, with a population of 610,000, reported inflation of 54.6% for 2022. The protests come in the same week that the smallest party in government left the ruling coalition, citing disagreements over poverty and social policies. My question to you is there inflation in Guyana? How big is it? Have you received any subsidies from your government? How small is it? Is cost of living rising in this country? Or is it affordable? Are you feeling economic squeeze or not? And based on how you answer those questions, that is how you will react, quite frankly. At least that's in my mind. Do you have a right to protest? Do you have a right to a better quality of life? Do you have a right to hold your government accountable? The Surinameans certainly believe they have that right. And they have demonstrated that they're not afraid to demand that right. What are we doing as citizens of this dear land of Guyana? Last night, the panorama, or whatever they call it, at Marriott Beachfront was rampant. Everybody was having a good time, gyrating on each other. I wonder how many had a meal this morning. I wonder how many can send their children to school this morning. I wonder how many can really cope with the cost of living. Why don't we see those numbers on the streets calling for economic and social justice? The lines are open. 6225933 is the number to call. You're tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. Identify where racism is and where corruption is. And let's all carry it. this is Konganaya outside of Demico, the west. Yeah, somebody pick me. Nado mesa, brother, nado mesa. Nado mesa, brother, nado mesa. Me a somebody pick me. Good morning, welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, the BUXTONIAN Kidaki Amsterdam. It is 7 hours 13 on the 21st day of February in the year 2023. Welcome to the program. How are you? How were you yesterday? How did you survive last night? You know something that we take for granted? How many of you had a meal yesterday? Well, I know. How many of you had a meal yesterday? A satisfying meal, a well-balanced meal. You know, a nutritious meal. How many of you? How affordable was it? Did you manage it on less than $1,100 a day? That's a question I need to ask because things getting tight. Things getting tight. Yes, things are tighter by the day. I see the short cook saying the economy is projected to grow by more than 25% or something like that in this year. But what the short cook hasn't told you is that more than 50% or almost 50% of Guyanese are living below the poverty line of 1,100 Guyana dollars a day, $5.50 US a day. A lot of people can't survive on that, you know. But how did you make out yesterday? That was yesterday. Was it successful? Did you achieve those set goals? Were you able to reflect on the things we discussed? Have you decided in your mind that, hey, as a black man, as a black father, as an African Guyanese father, I will stand in defense of my family, I will stand in defense of my children, I will stand in defense of my people? Have you decided on that or not? Or you still believe that whoever is paying this piper must call it true, that I am employed by the security service of a man who is Indian and therefore I must not fight against those who employ me? Have you thought about how do you empower yourself to not be caught in this economic trap? Or being paid by a piper who doesn't look like you, number one, and who calls a tune that is not to your benefit? Have you considered that? Self-emancipation. Robert Nesta Marley said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. Because none but ourselves can free our minds. Are we going to remain in this state of mental slavery? This state of mental laziness, if I want to call it that, that says, listen, because the other people got a set of guns and they control the state machinery and so on, they can do us as they like. They're going to go into schools and beat up our children and we're not going to resist. Are we going to remain in a state of perhaps mental laziness that says, listen, we are not going to fight for what we deserve in this society? I want to show you all something. This morning we have Dr. Berysha, yes, Dr. Berysha Saskia Solomon with us. We're going to be talking with her, and we're going to talk about them kind of things that I've been talking about. But I want to show you all something in the meantime. When we were talking about low-cost housing, and we were seeing zinc plastered with cement, and they say that is modern material, let's just draw your attention to something. I think it's Jokai the Smek. Look at this house. You love it or you love it not? Tell me. Is it pretty beautiful or is it quite expensive? Is it of a better quality than those that you see being built for $5 million or is it not? Look at the house. Morning, Councillor. Selwyn Peters, how you do? You see what's going on there? Look at the guttering, man. Or as we say, the plumbing. Look at the plumbing. They got black tank too. Yes, I see black tank in the background there. You know what that is? Do you know what that is? Remember I told you not so long ago, late last year, the fat guy and that fowl went to the back of Annandale where there's some people who were squatting on the buffer dam between the seawall and the housing areas. Those people started squatting there when the coalition was in office. So at most they have been squatting there for about 7 years, right? Because the coalition spent 5 turbulent years in office. And so they have been there for about 5 years, let's say during the coalition time, even though they might have started a year later. But let's say they have been there at least for 5 years, 2015 to 2020, this 5 years, plus 2 years to 2022, is 7 years. Right? And so if they have been there for 7 years, look at the rate at which they were regularized. Because the fat guy and that fool went there and said, we're going to regularize you. Y'all can't stay here, but we're going to move y'all and put y'all in housing schemes. And we're going to get the bank to facilitate your mortgages and so on. Those are 9 of the homes that were constructed. The headline says 9 Annandale families received keys to brand new homes. Look at the quality of the homes. And you know what the cost is? $5 million. $5 million. So why some people can get $5 million concrete homes built out of, I would assume, hollow blocks and mortar and so on. And then another set of people can get $5 million homes built with zinc, plastered with little cement. It's like pass. There must be standardization across this country. We must standardize what we're giving to our citizens. If this is the standard, then this is the standard. We don't want to hear anything about modern materials that is not modern, because I don't know since when zinc is modern. I don't know how it is you come in and experiment with people's money to tell people that you're going to use blocks made out of recycled plastic. Where have these blocks been tried and tested? These are the kind of things that Guyanese got to be prepared to confront and talk about. And don't be duped. Right? These homes are in the Annandale housing scheme or something to that extent they call it. But when you got to Houston, what are they giving you? Or Diamond Waver, what are they giving you? They're giving you some zinc plastered with cement. I just share that with you so you can open your eyes, because some of us are walking around with our eyes shut and pretending that we don't see what's happening. Is where the doctor there? Is the doctor late? Because if the doctor is late, the patient might suffer. Right? So take note of that. I think I saw somewhere in the Village Voice or something that Sitera Gal has issued a statement about the beating up of black people children in West Berbice. Right? I don't know about y'all, but I don't know that they could tell me anything. Quite frankly. Government aware of abuse claims against African students attending Woodley Secondary School, Woodley Park Secondary. Right? That's what they say. The government is aware. But what has the government done? Or what is the government prepared to do, having been made aware of this issue? Right? The Department of Public Information has been made aware of allegations of verbal and physical abuse. Kindly mute your phone, Doc. Mute your device, thank you. The Department of Public Information has been made aware of allegations of verbal and physical abuse accompanied by the alleged use of criminal racist language against students attending the Woodley Park Secondary School, West Coast, Berbice. We have been advised that the Ministry of Education through the Regional Education Department and the Guyana Police Force are working together to thoroughly investigate these reports. A joint investigative team has been launched to look into these allegations and to determine the facts surrounding this situation. Findings will be made public as soon as they are available. Parents, students, and the general public are being assured that the ministry is committed to ensuring the safety and well-being of all students. The ministry will continue to monitor this situation closely and provide updates as necessary. Be assured that appropriate actions will be taken in accordance with the law. In the meantime, every action will be taken to keep the students attending the school safe, and anyone who attempts to interfere with that will be dealt with condignly. Last Saturday, the PNCR issued a statement on the matter and called for an intervention of the Ethnic Relations Commission and the Ministers of Education and Home Affairs. According to the PNCR quote, persons were seen armed with pieces of wood walking around the compound of the school as parents and teachers confronted the intruders in the presence of students. In the said video recording, one student complained to a teacher that he was cuffed. Subsequently, photographs from parents sent to Member of Parliament Mr. Vincent Jordan showed the severity of physical injuries to the hands, feet, and head of the affected students. One parent stated on her Facebook page, quote, after physically abusing the children, they said this is a coolie area. Black man is supposed to be here. Right? First and foremost, this statement is what they say, creating racial strife according to the laws of Guyana, and so people must be dealt with condignly. Secondly, the behavior of those residents of Woodley Park to invade a school and beat up children and so on is terrorism. And so they too should be charged with terrorism. Them Golden Grove young men were charged with terrorism simply because they chose to protest and called for justice for the murdered villager, Quindon Bacchus. We still have not seen any justice in that matter. People are before the courts, but like those cases are on ice. But we know for a fact that people who took part in that murder are still out on the streets walking. As a matter of fact, they've been promoted by the Illegal Police Service Commission. So let's keep that in mind. Let's keep those things in mind. Let us not lose track of those things. But here in studio virtually is Dr. Berysha Saskia Solomon. Someone who you came to know as a result of what I'm going to show you. Many of us were not even aware that there was such a doctor existing in Guyana, right? But look at these videos.
President Ali, good morning to you. I'm here currently now today, Wednesday, the 8th of February, here in front of State House, begging you to see me. I'm kneeling down on my knees, President Ali. Look, I'm here on my knees, begging you for a professional job, President Ali. You have me writing you letters and begging you. I'm here on my knees, begging you as a single mother. My baby's only 3 years old. President Ali, since last year I've been writing you letter, begging you. Look, I'm here in front of State House, begging you as a slave. I don't know what else to say exactly, right? Begging you just to see you 1 minute. Every time I go, it's a set to push wrong by your staff then. President Ali, I'm begging you to just please see me for 1 minute. All I'm begging you for is a job, President Ali. Look, I'm here on my knees, President Ali, begging you for a job. Oh, and please don't let your bodyguard come and gun me down or threaten me that they're going to gun me down. I don't want nobody to gun me down. I have my child for life. He's only 3 years old, President Ali. I'm in front here of State House this morning begging you to please see me, President Ali. So much of letters I've been writing, begging you, President Ali. I've been begging you to please see me so that I can have a professional job to provide for my son. My baby's only 3 years old. How much do I have to write, President Ali? I'm begging you. I'm a medical doctor. I work 5 years and never kill nobody, no hospital, and I can't get a job up today like today. You people take away my job, take away bread, take bread out of my mouth. Look how I have to be here like a slave on my knees begging just to see you, President Ali. This is fair? This is not fair. I'm no slave, but I have to be a slave a day like today. Excellency Dr. Morgan Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative.
Yeah, so that was the first video that brought us into contact with Dr. Berysha. Right? A lot of people started asking, who is this young lady? Why is she kneeling in front of the official residence of the president, or the all right, the insult, you know. Why is she there, and so on and so forth. Right? Those were the questions that were being asked. And so today we have Dr. Berysha in the house with us. And I am hoping that she's going to help us to understand the situation. She's going to be able to bring us some clarity as to what is happening. Welcome to the Guyanese Morning Time, Dr. Berysha. Should I call you Berysha Saskia or Dr. Solomon?
Dr. Solomon is okay.
I want 5 years and never.
All right, you have to turn on that device. It's going to feedback.
Yes, right on. Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Solomon, talk to us. Let me ask by way of introduction, who is Berysha Saskia Solomon?
Yours as well. My name is Dr. Berysha Saskia Solomon, and I'm here this morning to share my story with everyone here in Guyana, in the diaspora, and also other CARICOM nationals as well who usually tune into your program. You know, I want them to know exactly what's going on here in Guyana, and hopefully, you know, people would, you know, start speaking out more about what the government is doing to citizens here in Guyana.
And so who is Saskia Solomon or Berysha Solomon? Let's know your lineage or your lineage, as they say. Is where you come from, y'all. Where you live, where you're born, where you go, schools you attended, and so on. Let's just get to know you.
Okay, so I am from Cummins Lodge. Originally, when in the early 90s, I was living there in the Baptist with my mom and her relative, and then we moved all the way to Cummins Lodge. I would have attended the Turkine Nursery School, and I would attend Cummins Lodge Primary, and then I went to St. Joseph High School, and then I went to President's College. And in 2009, I left Guyana to go to Cuba to pursue my degree in human medicine. I returned back in 2015. I complete my internship under the watch of the Cuban Medical Brigade. I was successful at my internship. I passed all of my clinical rotations, and I was successful at my Cuban Medical Board final exam as well, where I got, I would have gotten 98% in my my medical board practical exam. I got 98%. My written exam, which was all in Spanish, I think was a lot of questions, close to 100 questions. The exam usually come with, I think. I got 96% in that exam. We graduated. I think it was on the 6th of July. They gave us awarded us our medical degree certificate. That was in 2016. Then we applied through the Public Service Ministry and Ministry of Health together. We applied for our to start working here in Guyana, to start practicing medicine. Also, we had to send in our documents to the Medical Council Board of Guyana and to get our license before we could have started practicing medicine here in Guyana. And the medical license was issued to me in 2016, an institutional license. Now, Cuban-trained medical doctors, when we return from Cuba, they have this, I don't know, for some reason or the other, they say because we're foreign-trained doctors, they're going to issue us an institutional license to practice medicine and not the full license. And which is, I don't know why they set it up like that. It's just pure wickedness because the UG trained doctors, they don't ever get institutional license. They usually get their full license. But for us, they said you'll get your institutional license for 18 months. You have to do an 18 months clinical rotation. And when you're finished with that rotation, the 18 months rotation, we're going to issue you guys your full license. Now the 18 months rotation, it doesn't have no structure in terms of how they're going to grade doctors fairly. It's just a rotation. You go, you work every day, you complete all your duties. As a doctor, you have to do your on calls, you do all of those things. At the end of all your rotation, you have to do two presentation. You do your presentation, and when you're finished, they just give you a grade. They just give you a grade. They don't have like a panel of doctors who usually grade the doctors them. So it's not fairly done. But, you know, I mean, everybody just go through the system like that for years upon years. When you finish now, then you're taking your booklet to the chief medical officer. He would give you an endorsement letter, and then you have to take that to the Medical Council Board of Guyana to get your full license. So that basically is a rundown of the whole licensing, you know, process here in Guyana and how things is usually work. Here in Guyana, medical doctors can either be issued full license or you have the institutional license. The institutional license does not allow medical doctors to practice outside of the public service sector. You have to work with the government because what happened, the institutional license, they usually put on what hospital you have to go and work at on that license, and if you only go and work at a different hospital or open a private practice, that would be a breach of the Medical Act here in Guyana. Your license could be suspended, so you cannot once you have an institutional license. I'm saying this thing because a lot of persons in the media has been asking me, why is it you just don't go on private practice? So I was never issued a full license due to racial discrimination. I'm always that's it, because I'm Afro-Guyanese doctor. I'm a female Afro-Guyanese doctor. They for years now, they certain persons within Guyana medical fraternity continue to bar me and discriminate against me because I'm an Afro-Guyanese doctor, and I have been speaking out against their racial acts and all what they're doing towards Afro-Guyanese doctors here in Guyana. So they're very much angry because I'm very vocal about that, and they decide and they continue to, you know, maintain their ground that they would never give me my full registration. It doesn't matter who government go in power. That they're always going to be there at the council and at the level of the chief medical officer. They'll always be in control of things, so I would never ever get my full license. So, in a nutshell, you know.
All right, let's talk. You're definitely a scholarship student. You've shared with us your course of study in Cuba and your level of success. Right, I like to ask for the evidence, but I will take your word for that, because obviously there must be some transcript from the university you attended.
This is the certificate which the Cuban government, they usually give it to us. This is not made here in Guyana. It has to come all the way from Havana, Cuba. It has the seal, the endorsement seal, and everything. And I'm having all of my transcripts as well. Yes, from the Cuban government. So it's an authentic, it's original, right, so it's real.
There's one piece of evidence. We can label that Exhibit A. All right, so you completed your stint of training, your schooling in Cuba, and you came back. And the requirement once you got back here was to do your clinicals. Am I right?
Pardon?
I said you completed that stint of training, your schooling in Cuba, and then you returned home. And once you returned home, the requirement was for you to do your clinicals.
Yes, to start practicing, to start working as a medical doctor.
Good. And so part of the process,
contract. Okay, sorry.
part of the process for you to be certified here or be licensed here is that you have to do these clinical rotations, which, based on what I'm understanding from you, are really haphazard. There is no structure in terms of, let's say, a supervisory team that supervises and lays out what you're supposed to do. Am I right?
Yes, that's it. It's like it's rogue. It's just a rogue thing. They don't have nothing structured out, as in how doctors how they would go about giving the doctors the final grade, because ideally they usually issue a booklet, and the booklet's supposed to be graded on a weekly basis. Now they don't grade it on a weekly basis. They wait until you finish, and then they just put whatever grade they feel like to put. And it's supposed to be a panel of doctors to give you, to grade you at the end, and they don't do that.
So
once they don't like you, they just give you whatever grade they feel pleased to give to you. Yeah, that's how it goes.
So who graded you? Let me ask that question specifically. Who graded you?
So when I was at GPAT, Georgetown Hospital, I started my clinical rotation there from November 2016 all the way to July 2018, the 18 months rotation. I did my rotations there at Georgetown Public Hospital. This here is the booklet. This here is the booklet, what I usually issue to us medical doctors. Now, my first clinical rotation, what I did was internal medicine. My consultant there was a doctor by the name of Dr. Kams, a Cuban consultant who, I don't know if she's still a consultant there at Georgetown Public Hospital, consultant for internal medicine. I was on her team. I passed. I successfully completed that rotation. I got my final grade. It was endorsed by her for internal medicine. While I was working with her, under her, there were other doctors. Let me say this out clear: Indo-Guyanese doctors who was working in the internal medicine department, who had wanted me to fail that rotation, despite I was not on their team. They were telling other doctors who was on my team with Dr. Kams that they want me to fail the rotation. I can call a name out. I don't have time because they're wicked. That's how they are. That's how they want me to repeat the rotation, and they must give me a hard time. Anyways, the doctors, Dr. Kams, professional, she knows how they stay, that they love to fight down junior doctors within the system. And at the end, she put her final grade. I passed the rotation. I did all of my on-calls. I did all of my work. Okay? The second rotation I did was general surgery. The doctor who was a supervising doctor there, he was Dr. Ravi Motilal. At a point in time, he was on the Medical Council Board of Guyana. So he knew that there was a case there before me, which another doctor on my level from another hospital would have submitted a false case to the Medical Council Board of Guyana about me, alleging that I cyberbully her. And well, that was, I'm gonna talk about that just now. Anyways, I was there on his team. They had a few resident doctors who had personal issues with me. While I was there for the entire 3 months, every day I went to work. I did my on call. The doctor, a specific doctor there, an Indo-Guyanese male doctor.
Name.
Pardon?
Name. You're allowed to call names on this program.
Okay, so his name is Dr. Chiman Ramdari. Yes, he was a resident doctor, and he was above me there, and he was responsible for giving out the rotating doctors patients, allotting patients to us every single day. Now, you know what he used to do to me? He used to give all the other doctors them, rotating doctors them, patients, and never used to give me no patient to attend. Whenever we have whenever we were on call, and when we had to go downstairs, right, to see patients in the accident and emergency, they never used to call me. One of my other colleagues used to have to call me. When I go downstairs there, he used to give the patient them so that the other doctors on the team, junior doctors on the team, would attend to the patient. Never give me no patient. Dr. Motila, like the second week of the while I was there in the rotation, he turned and here now, the second week while I was there in the general surgery rotation, there was this other Indo-Guyanese doctor. What happened was that a morning early, she came in and she started to attend to my patient, and I told her, I said, when we come, they tell us, do not attend to our other colleagues' doctor patient. Whatever patient you have, this is your patient. She went and started seeing my patient. She was there early morning. Now she's Indo-Guyanese. I didn't know that because I put the issue, what she did to me in the chat group, that was a big problem, and that is how everything just went AY from since then. You understand me? Because they just look out for their own people. And they never give me back no other patient, as I say. I spent the 3 weeks, the 3 months there in the rotation. Even when they usually go into surgery, they never yet say Dr. Solomon scrubbing on this. Nothing. I just used to be there standing up. Well, the registrar at a point in time, I think now he's a consultant, Dr. Ravi Motilal. He would have taken me to the director of professional service office and tell me that he don't have time to resolve petty internal issues among doctors. Yeah, that's what he told me. So I didn't have nobody to complain to. I just had to let the 3 months run out, and after which I left, and I would have moved on. So I went after health center. Yes, I went after health center. After that, I went to health center. I did my health center rotation. Then I went back at GPHC, and I had to do my pediatric rotation and my obstetric and gynecology rotation. I was successful at all of those rotations. What happened now? The general surgery, because of the fact that I was there and the issues, the registrar, in 2018, when I took back the booklet for him to sign the booklet now, sign out the booklet, he gave me a fail grade, which is 2, because the grading in the booklet for medical counsel, you have to get 3, 4, or 5. Those are the pass grade. Once you get 3, you pass the rotation, right? So he gave me 2, and well, I failed the rotation. All the other rest of the rotation, I passed them. I successfully passed them. Now, when he didn't even want to sign the book. That's the first thing. I had to go and complain to the CEO of the hospital, retired brigadier, I think it's Lewis. I had to go to his office and complain to him before I could have gotten Dr. Motila to even sign in my booklet. When he finished signing it, that was in 2018, I left and I went to the chief medical officer. I went actually to the director of RHS back then, Dr. Sheko. I told her of my issues and stuff like that. Everything I told her. She said, oh my God. She said, all right, we got to talk to the CMO so that you can get to go and do back your general surgery rotation at a different hospital. She saw the booklet. No, I went over, I spoke to this. When I went to the CMO, Dr. Solomon, I know you're good. And I didn't wait till you are them. Now this is Dr. Shamdio Prasad. You hear what I'm telling you? And I've been waiting on you, and he collect my original booklet. You hear what I'm telling you? Here you have to do back all of your rotation. And all I said, Dr. Shamdio, look, I passed all of my rotation, them except the general surgery rotation. Harry, no, I'm the chief medical officer. What I say is goes, you have to do back all of those rotation them. He collected my original booklet. No, when I took that booklet to him, I did not make a copy of that booklet. That was a mistake I made. And secondly, I did not take my booklet for the final signature in my obstetric and gynecology rotation. I did not take it back for let the consultant endorse it, but a registrar would have already signed up the booklet, the contents, you know, because I work under that registrar for the obstetric and gynecology rotation. The consultant then, he would have indicated, he said, you don't have to repeat back the rotation. Here, you complete the rotation, you successfully pass the rotation. Just bring the booklet, let me give you your final signature and endorse it so you can go your way, Dr. Solomon. I never got back the original.
Who was that
booklet,
consultant?
So
Who was that consultant?
Dr. Pedro. He was the consultant for the obstetric and gynecology rotation at department, Dera Georgetown Public Hospital.
Okay.
Dr. Pedro.
So,
yes. I never got the booklet back from Dr. Shamdeo Prasad to take back. So what happened now, there was a big drama unfolded at Ministry. I had to write Minister Cummins, complain about Dr. Shamdeo and every single thing. So we had a meeting, right? And when we had a meeting now, Dr. Shamdeo Prasad, he started telling Minister Cummins, hey, Minister Cummins, Dr. Solomon, yes, she successfully completed all of our rotation except the general surgery rotation. But why I decided as the chief medical officer of Guyana to let her repeat back all of our clinical rotations is because of the fact she has a case there for professional misconduct at the Medical Council Board of Guyana. Dr. Cummins, you should see all of the stuff, how she cussed out this other doctor. Oh my God, if you see this stuff, and he sat down with a pile of stuff, what a doctor would have compiled and she cut and paste and took to the Medical Council Board of Guyana in 2016, November.
Who is this
exactly,
doctor?
Pardon?
Go ahead.
Exactly 1 week after I started working at Georgetown, Hospital, and after the Medical Council Board of Guyana would have issued me my license. Now, myself and her had a big drama during that summer along with my ex-husband and stuff like that, and another male doctor and another nurse. It was a big drama.
So who is that doctor?
Pardon?
Who is that doctor?
Her name is Dr. S. Jack. Let me just put it that way. Yes, right? So now during August month of 2016, she didn't know to go to the Medical Council Board then. She waited exactly, you hear what I'm telling you? When I finished getting my license and then copy all of these back and forth, what she claimed, what she alleged that I sent to her. You understand me? And she took all of that to the Medical Council Board of Guyana secretary and told her whatever story she told the woman, wherever. And they then sent me a letter, I have to go there for a meeting in January 2017 for professional misconduct. Now the Medical Council Board of Guyana have absolutely no jurisdiction over doctors' personal bickering outside of the hospital and doctors' love affair. That have nothing to do with Medical Council Board. Nothing, absolutely nothing with that board. In the first place, when she went there, what the board should have done was tell her, go to the police station and report the doctor. You know? Not them to take that case in their hands. You understand me?
So you're saying that the Medical Council,
and it was not inside of no hospital. Okay?
So in short, you're saying that the Medical Council got involved in what I consider private, apparently domestic issue, and that resulted in you, quote unquote, being debarred.
Exactly, because what happened now, they called me in for the meeting, and I walked with my attorney, and my attorney let them know that this thing have absolutely nothing to do with the board, and argue. They say, if you don't tell us the truth and confess to what you did, we could you could go before Medical Council Disciplinary Committee. I was like, confess to what? My lawyer was like, no, she didn't do any of those. Those are just photocopy stuff. He said, send us a copy of those things, of your evidence for you guys have, and call us back for a meeting. Now, the chairman at that point in time, and continue, and also, he is the chairman, he has been the chairman for Medical Council Board for the past 5 years, Dr. Navendranath Rambaran. He was there at a point, he was there and he's still there. He ensured that the secretary, never contact me back nor my attorney at law to have that issue resolved. You understand me? No. They kept the case there for years and used that to blackmail me. Keep telling me, oh, you're before Medical Council Disciplinary Committee for Professional Misconduct. That same case, they kept blackmailing me. You hear what I'm telling you?
So the case has not been heard?
No, it was not been heard. The blackmail kept coming from the Secretary of the Medical Council Board of Guyana and the former Chief Medical Officer and the Chairman of the Board. Every single time I go there, they always threatening me about that issue. Anyways, after we had a meeting with Minister Cummins and Dr. Shamia Prasad, he told Minister Cummins, oh, Dr. Solomon is before Medical Council Disciplinary Committee with claim for professional misconduct. That's the reason why she had to go repeat back all of our rotation. Now, Minister Cummins, at that point in time, she didn't find out in details about the case. She did not look at my booklet neither. I even requested to get a hearing with her separately afterwards. She never got a hearing. She never called me to her office because I wanted to explain to her, let she know in details what went on. So because of the fact that she was the junior minister, the sitting minister there, she agreed with the chief medical officer for me to do back all of my clinical rotation, which I would have already successfully passed since 2018. Because ideally the only rotation what I should have repeat back was the general surgery clinical rotation. All the rest I passed them.
Question: is it a norm that if you fail one rotation, you are required to do back all the rotations?
No.
So that's not the norm. Okay, so they were asking you. They were
not the case.
Dr. Solomon, Dr. Solomon, Dr. Solomon, Dr. Solomon. You're a woman of many words. Okay. No, that is not the case. So they were asking you to do something abnormal. Right? They were asking you to do something abnormal in that you were right. Good. So
it was basically spite. It was out of spite because of the fact that they were very pissed off and angry that I went and tell the CEO of Georgetown Hospital, Mr. Brigadier Lewis, that they were racially victimizing me because I'm an Afro-Guyanese doctor for the general surgery rotation. That's why I got it grade 2 from that rotation. So they would have already called the CMO and tell him not to make sure I never don't have my full registration.
Question.
They already contacted him.
Question. Did you redo the 4 rotations? Did you redo them?
Yes. So Dr. Shamia Prasad, he ensured that he had a secretary write up well, he didn't even want to give me a copy of the first book. I had to write Minister Cummins and fight it down, through Minister Cummins, I had to write, right? Till he give me a copy of the first booklet so I could keep as evidence. So he didn't even want to get a copy to show people a day like today that I would have passed. So I went back to West Demerara Regional Hospital and I successfully completed all of my clinical rotations.
All 4?
Okay.
All
yes,
4?
All of them. I successfully completed them. My primary rotation, well, I would have done that since 2018 at GPHC. I would have successfully completed that. So they say you don't have to do back the primary rotation because you already what they wanted me to do back was the main rotation, the internal medicine, general surgery, pediatric and obstetric and gynecology rotation. And I successfully completed those rotations.
Good. So you completed, Dr. Calm down. So you completed your rotations, right?
Successfully, yeah.
Successfully. Now, before I ask you the question, why are you not getting your license? Well, I ask it, but here, don't answer the one yet. I saw a statement where Frank Anthony said, or the Minister of Health said, that you failed your rotations. Address that first.
Pardon?
I saw a statement where the Minister of Education, Health, or the Ministry has issued a statement saying that, in fact, you failed your rotations, right? And they're willing to, work with you to see how they can resolve this situation. Address that first.
Now, after the drama unfolded last year when I came out of Ministry of Health work, well, we can get on to that and stuff like that. I kept writing letters to His Excellency President Ali. And I put out everything what happened there at Health, and that was when President Ali actually learned that Frank Anthony hated me, and we had past history with drama and stuff like that. Because what happened when they stopped my salary there in February 2022, Frank Anthony was telling the cabinet, colleagues there on the cabinet that I failed my rotations, and and I'm before medical council disciplinary committee, and there's a reason why I can't get license, that kind of thing. He was telling them I set the license until I started speaking out on the media. That's how everybody learned the truth. Now President Ali, I want everybody in this country to know at this point in time that both His Excellency, okay, President Ali and the Vice President, the Honorable Dr. Barja, they are fully well aware of the truth that I would have successfully completed my clinical rotations them twice. They know that because you know what? I made copies of these booklets, hard copy. I didn't even have money. Thanks, I got a donation, and I compile them nice, and I sent it to the office of the president, copies for His Excellency and copies for the Vice President, and they have soft copies as well. So they know that I successfully completed these rotations. They are fully well aware of that I successfully completed my clinical rotation.
So why do you suggest?
Frank, I think could put out what statement he want to put out. There's a matter for him. He could put what he want to put out. I already successfully completed those rotations.
So you're provided, doctor, you've provided the evidence. Why do you suggest you have not been issued with your license?
Well, last year, after I kept writing President Ali, well, due to his intervention, the medical council board then say, okay, they still don't want to give me the full license, that they're going to give me institutional license to practice with this year here. We had a meeting, myself and the present chief medical officer, Dr. Narayan Singh, and the permanent secretary of Ministry of Health, Mr. Malcolm Wattings. We had a meeting there in his office, and he said he can't have to get a license before he come back to Ministry of Health and work. I said, I know that. And the CMO was there, and the CMO was like, also after we review a case at Medical Council Board, you're going to be issued an institutional license because, all you have to do is just go back to Georgetown Public Hospital in the obstetric and gynecology rotation and do back the entire rotation for 3 months. And when you finish that rotation, then is when you're going to get your full license. I said, as a CMO, you saw the booklet. I said, you see that I successfully completed the rotation. Yes, but it's based on the small comment being made there by the consultant. I said, the consultant himself said that I successfully completed this rotation. All I need to do is just go back and work in the department. That's all he said, to improve my knowledge a little bit more. That's all he placed. He did not say that I failed the rotation. He said I successfully completed the rotation, and there's no need for me to repeat back the entire rotation. As I said, based on a small comment, I have to do back a whole rotation. Based on that comment, I cannot get my full license. Huh? Dr. Solomon is just only for 3 months. Yeah, that is what the CMO told me. And there it is. The grade is right here that I passed the rotation.
And
here.
And so you refuse to accept that condition?
I did not refuse to accept the condition. I did not refuse to accept the condition. I said okay. And he said the council got issue institutional license, and you're going to get to come back. Now, because of the fact that I'm a Ministry of Health employee, you just can't go back on the job just like that. The council sent me a letter stating that they will renew my license, institutional license, for 2023 here. And what happened, the permanent secretary told me just write a letter asking to come on back on the job there at Ministry of Health, and write a letter so that I can get an approval letter from them, and a placement letter to take to GPH to start back working. I never get them. I never got the approval letter, and I never got the placement letter. Did
you get your institutional license?
Well, I went to the board January. I paid my money for my institutional license, and I'm still waiting. The council, after the statement what Minister Frank Anthony put out, I haven't seen the Medical Council Board of Guyana written me no letter or tell me nothing, but I'm still waiting for the license, because they already sent me and tell me that they're going to renew the license for this year here, the institutional license. haven't seen the license. They never call me and tell me nothing.
Have you checked?
Their issue. Going to the council, but
Yeah.
they usually post it here and communicate with us via email and tell us come in for it. That's the procedure. They're having my email address, you know. If they don't want to issue me the license, I mean, they could have emailed me and tell me, give me an update, you know, because it's in January month. And other doctors who would have applied for their license for this year, they already received it. But I never received any license. I recall when I went up to the CMO office, he was like, Mary, I already did my part to make sure that you got back your license. But it's up to Ministry of Health now if they want to employ you. I don't know if they're gonna want to employ you back. Yeah.
All right. So outside of the institutional license, what will permit you to work?
You have to get a license. Like to practice medicine, you have to get a license. Now, I did a master's in business administration in I graduated in.
Don't let us go there. I don't want to hear that yet. We are talking about your medical license. So you haven't gotten the institutional license, but you need to be licensed to work. So if the government is not going to employ you, then the institutional license would be of no use to you.
Exactly.
What is preventing you from getting what should I say, your general practitioner's license? What is preventing you from getting that?
Well, you have to complete your clinical rotations then successfully, and the chief medical officer have to give an endorsement letter. And in 2020, when I took the same booklet to Dr. Shamdeo Prasad during the recount period, you know, which since then I successfully completed the rotation, he told me no, he's not writing no endorsement letter for me to get no full license, and I would never get my full license. A new government will be in power and you'll be out of a job, and you could never get your full license.
And so let me ask you that. If those are Shamdeo's words, word is out there that you endorsed the PPP around the same time. Now that you brought it up that it was 2020, it was recount happening, Shamdeo Prasad, chief medical officer at the time, allegedly told you, I ain't endorsing nothing. You're going to be out of a job when the new government came in. How you end up endorsing the new government?
So, because of the fact I still had a remaining 1 year on my contract, and I wanted to get my passport clear, because, you know, when we come back, they would, even before we left, they would stamp your passport. You have a block there at the airport, a blockage. Us medical doctor, we can't just pick up and go on the plane tomorrow. We have to get a letter from the Public Service Ministry every time we want to travel. Now, once I never complete the contract there, the 5-year contract, there was no way I could have gotten the passport clean. So I started, well, before time I usually used to talk to a few persons there in the PC party. That was when I was very public about, you know, supporting them and stuff like that. You know, I started to do what I had to do to keep my job. I then run off and started doing a master, because I say, no, when I leave, I gotta, you know, get you know, qualification, more academic qualifications, so that I can get a job for when I'm ready to leave Guyana. For 1 year, I was publicly supporting them. I mean, I had a lot of cuss down from up to supporters and what have you. But I did what I had to do just to save myself and save my job, because it was in 2020 year end, and had I been fired since then, how would I have, you know, survived and stuff like that? And if they had taken me off then, it would have been very hard for me to get my passport clear. Yeah, it would have been very difficult, because they would have said, oh, you have a whole year pending on your contract and you can't leave the country. Because that was their plan exactly, to keep me here in Guyana jobless and bar me from even leaving. But the plan never come. They never got through that plan, because they took me off September, which was 2 months before my 5-year contract was up. last year after when I went back to them to get the letter. They didn't want to give me the letter. I then was when I made the issue public and I wrote letters and what have you, and I end up getting the release letter. Well, as I said, the problem is at health. They didn't even know I got a release letter. So you have your release letter. You've been released. You're no longer bonded to the government and citizens of Guyana. You've been released. Yes. But what kept me here was the fact that I was out of a job and I continued to study and no money to travel. Yeah, so that's what kept me here. But I'm released, I can travel. But so you can travel, but you're still not getting your license, right? Yeah. And I'm a Guyanese national, and it's my constitutional right to be registered with the Medical Council Board of Guyana as a Guyanese national. That's my constitutional right. And also, you know what? They keep saying, "Oh, we cannot issue your institutional license. You have to get this full license." There are some foreign doctors. They never issue them the full license. They just have to keep working with institutional license. So it's just politics, and people just wicked towards me. Have you contemplated going to the courts? We all know Guyana court system is, to be honest, and let me tell you something. Every time I would have approached the chief medical officer office and the Medical Council Board of Guyana to get my full license, they always bring up, "Oh, we get this new policy, oh, we get a new policy." Now, going to the courts, they're going to say, "Oh, we get this policy, we get all kind of thing they're going to come up with," to be honest with. They are going to be doing those things, yes. Then you might see
I'm not a lawyer.
Court jacket. We know the system in Guyana. The court jacket disappear. The matter asks for stay. The matter never get called forward. Same thing. We have no court system is here in Guyana. So going to the court, as I said, present, they'll just be redundant because we all know the system and how things go right now in Guyana. The case might never even call up before the court. That's how it is. All right, so it's 10 minutes past 8 o'clock hour. I think I have a couple more questions to you. And one is this. Everybody has, or a lot of people have seen you as supportive of the PPP. I know for a fact that you've been on the Pesticide and Toxic Chemical Control Board. You were perhaps given a membership of that board because of your quote-unquote closeness to the PPP. But now, let me finish, please. But now it seems as though you have an uphill task with the same people to get your license to practice as a doctor in this country. What would you say is responsible for quote-unquote this fallout? What is responsible for this fallout? Why is it you were good enough to sit on the Pesticide and Toxic Chemical Control Board in the eyes of these people, but you're not good enough to get your general practitioner certificate as a doctor? My issue is, let me tell you something. My issue with the government of Guyana is nothing personal. Well, it's personal for health officials there at the Ministry of Health. They are the one who hate me, and they're the one who keep pushing the narrative. You understand me? The Pesticide and Toxic Chemical Control Board, Ministry of Agriculture. You understand me? So I was on the board, and they want to know how I meet on the board. Those people at Ministry of Health, how she meet on the board, and who I know with the PPP party. That's what I keep questioning. Now, I'm not stupid. I mean, I usually post what I want to post on social media and what I want people to see. They say that they like today, they want to know who I know in PPP party or who know me. Well, good luck to them because they will never get that information. And that's not Ministry of Health Board. That's what is the name? That's the Agriculture Board. So yeah, but all of these boards are controlled by the government. The government decides who sits on these boards. The question is, doctor, I don't have no personal issue with me not
Doctor.
It is Minister
Doctor.
and it's true.
Doctor. All right. Doctor, so you're saying, listen, I want you to focus. I'm asking you specific questions. Right? You're saying here, Ali doesn't have a problem with you. It is Frank Anthony and his crew that has a problem. So are you saying there's a split in the leadership of the PPP that the president... please, Doctor, let me finish. Let me finish. Are you saying there's a split in the leadership of the PPP that the president cannot say, issue this woman or license, and you get it?
You listen to this. This is a question I would so not want to speak about publicly. I just can't answer. I wouldn't answer the question, but as I keep saying, you know, a lot of person you want the government, and I keep telling people, I say, listen, the issues at the level of Ministry of Health over there.
Dr. Solomon. Dr. Solomon, hear me. I got a thing I like to say. Fool attack, fool now listen. There can be no separation of what is happening at the Ministry of Health and what is happening at the level of the cabinet. The buck stops at the president. It's the PPP government. They're responsible for the cabinet. They're responsible for health. They're responsible for agriculture. And if you're saying that you cannot get your license because Frank Anthony, who is at health, has a problem with you, then there is a problem in the government.
Whoa. And you know, it's like, Jesus Christ. Yes, I tell you, the issues at health, and then you know the argument always come up is that the president cannot give direction to no board. No board, no board. And that is true.
Listen.
You know, operate good. So President Ali can't tell no board to give me. You know that. You know that.
No. I don't know that.
Come on.
If Frank Anthony can tell the board, hear me.
They don't take instructions from the cabinet nor the president. That's how board operates.
That's a paper discussion. I wouldn't continue with it. I won't continue with it. What I want to say though is kudos to protecting those who don't protect you. It's as simple as that, because that's how I see it. Right? Kudos to protecting those who don't protect you. I am not going to sit and try to defend anybody who is not defending me. Here it is. You've been calling on Ali. Let's deal with this one. You've been calling on Ali. At least I saw 2 videos, one I played earlier, to give you a hearing. Have you heard from Ali since you've made those videos?
Not as yet, but I will hear from Ali. I will hear from him.
So you're not a priority.
Why you say, well, I will hear from President Ali.
Okay.
I will hear from him.
All right. It's 50 minutes past the 8 o'clock hour. Is there anything you want to tell us before you leave? Or tell citizens as a whole? Is this government discriminatory? Is this government racist? Are we in an apartheid state? All of those questions in one. Answer them for me.
Listen to this. I'm not going to, it's not that I'm defending the government. I am not a political activist. I keep saying that. I just don't want to get myself involved with the whole political. I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
Let me ask you a specific question.
Internet for the time is just to get an air with President, a private area, because when I'm speaking to President Ali, Minister Frank Anthony is not going to be there in that meeting.
Let's address Frank Anthony. Let us address Frank Anthony.
So that they can have my employment aspect of things resolved. Okay, and not for me to go back and work at Ministry of Health.
Let's address Frank Anthony. Based on these issues you are identifying with Frank Anthony is preventing you from getting your license. Is Frank Anthony racist? Is he discriminatory?
Based on complaints which I would have received from other Afro-Guyanese medical doctors, not one, not two, like several other doctors, in relation to a lot of stuff which they went to Minister Frank Anthony and he never resolved the issue. I would say yes, he is Minister. Yeah, definitely, and I will make no apologies.
Definitely what?
He's arrested. He's arrested because there are Afro-Guyanese doctors who did wicked stuff too. And those doctors, they don't want their story to be in the media. They sit here with no drama. And I tell them, I say, man, right President Ali and stuff like that, let you know exactly what Minister Franklin is doing over there at health. Yeah, there are certain wickedness he and the crew are doing over there with President Ali and Vice President. They don't know about. They have no clue what they're doing over there.
But you brought these things to their attention based on what I'm hearing, and they have not acted on them. Are they complicit?
Listen to this. I talk about my issue. You understand me? I didn't call out the doctor's name because they do not want the name to be called. They don't want to be no target. You understand me?
They have not addressed your issues. Are they complicit with Frank Anthony, or they simply incompetent or don't give a damn about citizens' well-being?
Wow. Man, this question, I just tried to get it right word how to put this thing over. If they're complicit with Frank Anthony, no, I don't know. I won't say that. I won't say that.
Your closing thoughts. Your closing thoughts.
My closing thought to this point in time is that I hope that President Ali, he start looking into Ministry of Health and the allegations and about how they're treating Afro-Guyanese doctors. And I don't know what he's going to do with Minister Frank Anthony, to be honest with. And I just hope going forward that I could get a hearing with President Ali and the Vice President in relation to my employment, as this is what my plight is all about. And I just hope the aspect with my license get resolved as well. There's certain things I just can't say in public. Just forgive me. I just can't say certain things in public. Yeah, that is my closing remarks at this point in time. I just pray that good sense prevail in every single thing at this point in time. Well, I have to tell you, Frank Anthony he put out the statement how I mentally ill and that kind of thing. So he trying to do a lot of wickedness behind closed doors. Yeah,
that you brought it up. Frank Anthony says or suggests that you're mentally ill. Will you challenge him in court for that? That's defamation of character. That's libelous.
I know that. So right now, things is being done to ensure that to discredit those claims, because that there, right? We know that there. we all know what's going to come with that statement there, and Frank Anthony, 2025, I know for sure he's no longer going to be Guyana's Minister of Health. That I know for sure. And even if the PVC government go back and forth, he's not going to be the Minister of Health come 2025. That I know for sure. And I know he's watching right now, so he's not going to be the Minister of Health come 2025. He's not going to be there.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Thank you for sharing with us. I'm sure we have a clear understanding of the issues, and we'll continue to monitor what's happening. Have a good day, Dr. Berysha Saskia Solomon. Have a good day.
Thank you for allowing me to share a little thing on your program. Thank you.
I wish you success in your endeavors. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh yes, so there you have had it. The doctor has spoken with us. Dr. Berysha Solomon has spoken with us. And you are free to form your own opinions as to what the issues are. Somebody can't wait for the lines to be open, but I'll take the call.
Kadaki.
Good morning, caller. You're live.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki. Where to start? I see the problem. I know where the problem comes from. I see the problem. You might not agree with me, but I gotta say what I gotta say. It's a lot of, I've been taught by a big man by the name of David Kolat. he's a creator of limited brands. And one of the things he said to me, he said, Wayne, I admire the way you listen. You know, I could be in a project meeting, an argument going on, and I just listen. And then I come back and I say, bam, 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 bam. That young lady have to learn the magical stuff of listening. She do not listen, right? And that is one of the problems that I think that created the whole issue, because she got it in her head what it isn't without, and only that could work. That's it. Number two, you asked her about going to the courts, right? She said the court system, blah, 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 about the court, this in the court, that in the court, that. All kind of excuses for the court, right? But then, when you talked about the medical board, she said that the president cannot intervene, right, in medical board's decision, right? But then again, why did she go in front of the president's house and sit down there? You talk about defamation of character, right? She ain't even come with a proper solution. You know, there's so much to this. This was a tough interview. And the main takeaway of this, she do not listen. And if you do not listen, and the way she's coming up is arrogant. Sorry, but it's arrogant. And there's no help for her with that kind of attitude. She has to pedal back, sit back, listen, think. This is what she has to do. I don't care how much papers she got. It will never take her anywhere in this world with that attitude. Your attitude depends on your attitude depends on your attitude. That's all I have to say, my brother.
Thank you. That might be some good advice for the doctor to develop the art of listening. It's an art. The art of listening. Thank you for your call.
Good, my brother.
You know, I always say in society we have the issue of people listening to respond, not first listening to understand, and then respond, right? So you hear a set of words and you already have decided in your mind what you want to say to those set of words. I've seen it also on the Steve Harvey show, what you call it, Family Feud. 2 words out of Steve's mouth and the contestant answers, and then when the question is completed, it is nothing to what they have answered to. Right? So yeah, sometimes we just have to take the time to listen, give ourselves a little space to process what we heard, and then respond accordingly. The caller is saying that this doctor should develop that art. Caller live, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning, all Guyanese. And very good points. Good morning, everyone in the diaspora. Very good points the previous caller made. She needs to listen. And, well, you know, she qualified. I don't know where she went to school, if she went to school in Cuba. Probably that's where she went to school. And maybe she may want to go back there. She speaks Spanish if she went to school in Cuba. And she can get her necessaries there, being that she can travel. Maybe she needs, maybe how it's set, how Guyana has set it, is that maybe she needs to complete her schooling, her internship. I think what she was basically talking about was her internship. The requirement that has to happen in Guyana after she finishes medical school in Cuba. So maybe she can go back to Cuba and do that. Maybe. I'm just trying to find a way for her because she's a human being and she's an African sister, and we will try to find some way to help her. Having said that, she doesn't seem to be forthcoming with the information so that we on this show can properly help her, and that raises other questions as to why she is holding back the information. Firstly, she has a privacy issue. We can understand her right to privacy. However, if you go on the street and stand in front of the clock, that doesn't say that you're trying to be very private. So she can't approbate and reprobate at the same time. This kind of whole me lose me situation that she's giving us. She cries out that she wants the help. And then when we need to ask the right questions or certain questions to give her the help, she is storming, she is blocking. So sister, what you really want. You have to now ask yourself that you have asked us to help you. And then when we are trying to help you, then you don't want to give us the necessary information so we can help you. So what do you really want? You put yourself in a bad situation, doctor, because then now you come on this African Guyanese show. And then Frank Anthony going to say, well, look, your own black people don't want to help shit. You see that, doctor? Because you're going to get the kind of response, not because we don't want to help you. You had our sympathy, doctor. But then now you have to understand, when you come here for your African Guyanese people and Guyanese citizens to sympathize and empathize with you, you squander that in this interview. You allow all of that to dissipate by not answering the question and not be forthcoming. Again, I say, I understand your right to privacy. But if you had a right to privacy, then you would not do the sort of things you did on social media. All right? See? So it's not like we aren't for you, black woman. We are for you. But you have to be with us so we can be properly for you. Now, what you have done this morning by squandering the sympathy that we have for you, that we should have for you as a human being, you are now playing into the hands of the PPP or Frank Anthony. Because you should have allowed us to help you to the point whereby we could apply pressure on the government. You did yourself a great disservice this morning on this interview, my sister. You need to look it over again. Now, on the issues, Frank Anthony might be kind of going, the sister seems to be stressed out at this point. And I don't know where her stress is coming from. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist, but she obviously seems to be demonstrating some sort of stress in the interview. All right? And she's not very attentive. She's not listening properly. Now, it is what it is. If you're not listening properly at this point, maybe people are saying that you're not listening to the patient properly. And we've got enough complaints in the hospitals with irate nurses and doctors. Just recently, a woman called in talking about the medical, the ambulance workers. They don't want to listen. We have a lot of that in the hospitals. Nurses telling women, you should stop eating Chinese food because y'all can't push out this baby. And a lot of that ignorance is happening in the hospital. So, doctor, when you come up here and you can't do simple listening, it says to us that, well, there is something else there. And we don't know what that something else is, but it is what it is. You're just not listening, and you're causing the interviewer to have to repeatedly coach you. So is Frank Anthony seeing that? You see what I'm saying, doctor? Because, it's one thing to help you blindly, but I think we have a responsibility to help you so you could properly take the introspective and help yourself.
Thank you,
and maybe, doctor, yes, maybe you need to look at the interview, take it introspective, and get additional help. And I don't mean to put it over like that, but you may need some additional help, sister. Once again, thank you for listening.
Thank you. As an aside, before I speak to this issue again, I noticed Shelly Douglas is on the live here. Shelly, we got an issue in Buxton. I don't always watch me dirty living outside, but I got to watch it this morning. And while I'm addressing Buxtonians here, if you can all assist in this particular issue, I would welcome it. There's a young lady who died as a result of an accident last week. I think the 15th, yes. I call all the line. She died as a result of an accident the 15th. The family is challenged financially. Caller, you need to turn your device down.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello?
Hold the line, please.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, this young lady died in an accident on the 15th, the morning of the 15th. And our family, they're poor people. They're challenged financially to bury her. And so I'm making a plea there this morning for all those of you who are tuning in, all those of you who are listening, but more particularly them boxing people. One family's problem in boxing is all of our problems. And so I'm asking you kindly if you can assist in raising some funds to give this young lady a decent funeral. Kindly hit me up, 6225933. The WhatsApp number as usual. And let's see if we can raise some money to get her buried and get her decently buried. Let me see that. Right, so Shelly Douglas, I'm calling you specifically. Give me a task. Start call up them boxing people and ask them to assist in burying our dead. Right? And those of you who are part of the program on a daily basis, those of you who are part of the Kams family, I also welcome your assistance there. Let us bury this young lady decently. She didn't kill herself. So yes, you can WhatsApp me if you want further information. I'm willing to give you that. But certain things I am never really happy to discuss in such a public way. But sometimes you just can't help it, right? That's that. Now let me address the issue of the doctor before. You know, sometimes we do ourselves a disservice because we want to be conservative. We want to be fair to everybody else. Right? As old people say, sometimes we cut our face to spoil cut our nose to spoil our face. I certainly take what I do very seriously. And I know that the government monitors this problem. And if Dr. Solomon were to be as forthcoming as I expected her to be looking at her previous videos, I'm sure we could have had this matter resolved quickly in terms of her licensing. But to some extent, she has demonstrated here that she is willing to protect the PPP and their wickedness. And so long as the PPP understand that you're willing to protect them and their wickedness, they're going to continue to be wicked. Not only to you, but the rest of this country. And that is why I call it for what I see it as. Right? Listening to this young lady, you are hearing racism, you are hearing discrimination, you're hearing biases, you're hearing all kinds of things, disrespect. You're hearing pretense in that here it is, she's waxing lyrical about Jack Dio and the vice president and Ali as president, but these people are paying her no mind. Here it is, she is saying that the function of these boards are independent, nobody interferes with them, but we know differently. Right? Sometimes we have to give Jack his jacket. We got to call a spade if we want to get help. I'm being very frank here. Right? Listening to this young woman's story is a clear case of discrimination. And this discrimination can be placed, quite frankly, only at the door of the PPP and their operatives. But this discrimination is ethnic. This is racial discrimination. It started in the previous administration with Shamdio. And I'm surprised that Shamdio Prasad is that kind of person, quite frankly, because the coalition really embraced him. And to hear these kind of allegations, right? I'm also putting responsibility at the footsteps of those who were responsible for the healthcare system back then, Dr. Cummins, etc. As ministers and so on, sometimes we have to read between the lines, and sometimes we have to take the side of the oppressed. If it is not a norm that people have to redo all of their rotations when they fail one, who dares Shamdio to suggest to the minister that his black sister does all four when she only failed one? It is a matter of principle, and the more our leaders take principled positions, the better the society will be. And that is one of my fight with Granger. I always tell people, I have no personal problem with Granger. I just have a problem that he just left this nation and left black people at the whims and fancies of the PPP and their cohorts. He never stood up. when pressures came to bear or when it demanded that he stood up at the end of the 2020 elections. And that has us where we are. And more people have to recognize these issues, and they have to really stand up when it is necessary that they stand up. Dr. Solomon gives me the impression, she has said it quite frankly, that she bodied up with the PPP towards the end of the 2020 elections because she wanted to preserve herself. When we look at this individualism and we try to preserve ourselves, we create problems to each other. And lots of others. Because if we stand up as individuals, especially when we have winnable cases, we clear the path for others so they don't have to go through those fights. And that is my only, my only disappointment this morning. That I don't think the doctors come fully. She chinking, as we like to say. She chink. You can't play chink about and win these battles. We cannot play chink about and win these battles. And we have to recognize that the responsibility that we carry is not only for ourselves. It is for the wider community and the nation. Nevertheless, I am sure you have a clear understanding of what the issues are, how they will be resolved. Has a whole lot to do with the doctor. Corey, like, good morning. Thank you for
Good morning, Kalaki. Good morning to the listening public. Listen, I think there is more in the matter than the pistol, right? A lot of things she might want to say, but on air, she might not want to say those things because of fear of being victimized further, right? And even though Mr. Coffee came up with a very, very good understanding of what's going on and things, and as we clearly understand that listening, she has a listening problem, and that needs to be resolved, right? But there are lots of things that she might not want to say on air, and she would sidestep those questions of fear, might be out of fear of being victimized, might be of fear. And some of the things that when the government would have changed in 2015, certain persons on the medical board, right, should have been, I think they should have changed certain persons, and put persons there who were responsible, and the medical board should have been balanced, right? So as to not being the thing of racial discrimination. People mustn't go and say that the medical board is a racist board and so on. It should have been balanced. So one of our issue there is with the medical board and people like Shamdio Prasad and them, right? So as what people say, talk off and left off. So she's so educated that she is talking half and she sidestep half because of more in the matter than the pistol. That's my contribution this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your call. No love lost. I love you to the dust and back. Voice note.
Good morning, Kadaki. I heard a snippet of the issue with the doctor yesterday, and I tuned in to listen to her. The caller calls her African sister. We are so loving. She's an African sister with a PPP mentality. Don't get me wrong. It is our democratic right to support whoever we want to support. But the buck should stop when the people you are supporting are apartheid. What she said about Ali not having control over the Ministry of Health is bull, or she has a wool over her eyes. I am using her language now. If President Ali or Honorable Vice President wanted to help her, they would have done it ever since. Ali controls everything in that country. Look what he did with the Police Service Commission, and she is saying that he doesn't have control over the Ministry of Health. Something is indeed wrong with her. And I'll give you a disclaimer. This is my opinion. Thanks.
Thank you for that voice note. The lines remain open.
Morning, Kadaki. a very good program. This doctor, I followed her from the time she was on the social media sometime last year, I think, or the year before, with the same plight. And number one, she's getting a case of her own medicine. I sympathize with her. But the PPP use her to coerce out the coalition for her to feel good. And she of her own self said she thought when she did that, they would have recognized her and give her job. But look how long she's out of her job. And she has very high hopes in Ali, not my president, Ali and Jack Dio. And those are the two biggest crooks. So if she think she's going to get an easy ride, she's far from it. And she's dodging all your questions and protecting the PPP because maybe Ali or one of them give her a nice quoting that they're going to look into it and that, look, it's over a year or more they're looking into it and they're not making it possible for her to get her job. You come on a program, you're looking sympathy, you're all over the place making video live, and yet when you ask her certain questions, she's dodging it and protecting the PPP. All she wants is to meet with President Ali and the Vice President. None of the two of them going to meet with her. And if they meet with her, they're going to tell her the same thing they told her the last time. They're going to look into it, and it would never be looked into. And yes, she has an attitude because she don't listen. You trying to give her the questions, and before you don't even finish the question, she giving you an answer. That's not. She got to learn to listen, and she got to learn to be a bit humble.
You know, I want to say this. In all fairness to everybody, one cannot expect that. Having seen this interview advertised, the PPP, the enablers, the bigwigs, all of them, you can't expect that they wouldn't try to reach to this sister in some way, shape, or form. Right? And I'm sitting here this morning and I'm willing to say that I know efforts were made to get her in the first instance not to even do the interview. And so the possibility is a resolution has already been organized, arranged. And for as much as that has happened, we would have achieved our game or aim. Because the whole aim is to help to get a resolution in this particular issue. Right? They say by any means necessary. Call a live, good morning. Hold the line, I'm not getting your volume. Go ahead.
Yes, okay. We see here another display of educated people being trapped in the midst of Barjagio. I'm talking about she's no different than other educated professionals like judges. We see that happen with the chairman of GECOM, who's a retired judge. We've seen have with other judges, even attorneys at law and doctors, and they're all trapped under this Barjagioism. Right, this woman is clearly trying to play both sides. Right, she might be promised some by Jagdio and Irfan Ali, and they're taking long, and she's not sure, she's unsure about it or whatever. So she decides to come and be African all of a sudden. Right. She is African, so we wouldn't turn her back or we wouldn't chase her or anything like. We wouldn't boot her out. But she's clearly trying to play both sides. And she does have a hearing and comprehending problem indeed. I think, and she's also very, very, very cynical. But the most important thing is that she's trying to play both sides, and we can't help her if she's trying to play both sides, because she wouldn't jump out of she wouldn't jump out of the PPP bandwagon until she lands firmly, or she sees an opportunity that she would protect herself, right? So like any like lots of human beings, she's looking for opportunity. She's being opportunistic, but she can't play both sides, right? Either she in or she out. So we can't help her. That's my take. Thank you.
Thank you. Lots of voice notes. Let's see how we will get through them.
I think the problem with her is that she wants to sit on two stools.
Morning, Mr. Amsterdam. The girl freaky bad. You don't understand she. Because she went in front of the president office or his house or whatever and kneel down and beg him to see President Ali. And still President Ali can't help she. When I listen to she going to attack Ministry of Health. But she don't want to attack President Ali and Vice President Barajak Dio. She prefer attack Frank Anthony, but she don't want to attack the president and the vice president. Right? She is a two-mouthed person. She two-mouthed, and for me, she talks too blasted much. And at the end of the day, even if they give she a job or give she a license, she still gotta look over her shoulder because they could set you up. Because you can't attack we and you still want to come and work with we. So she still, if she says she's passport free, well, leave the country. Because you ain't going working in Guyana easy. You come on the internet, you make yourself, everybody know who is you. So if we go to the health center, we see you working at the health center, we say, this is the girl with the kneel down in front of the president saying she's begging as a slave. She mix up. I mean, I understand she's something wrong with she. As far as I concerned, she talk too damn much.
Some of you are brutal, yeah?
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Dr. Solomon is caught between a rock and a hard place. I don't know what she's so fearful of. Maybe she's getting an income from being on the board, and she is afraid that she will lose the little money that she's getting. But it is sad. It is sad.
Good morning, Kadakian listeners. Kadaki Bye, I believe you waste the whole program this morning. All right, take care. Next thing, I do hope that you're listening to coffee. Do hope that you're listening properly to coffee.
I can assure you I'm not wasting a program. My role is not always to get people to say what you would like them to say. My role is to just ventilate the issues. And I think the issues have been ventilated both positively and negatively this morning. So I don't think I've wasted a program.
Morning, Kadaki. A very good program. This doctor, I followed her from the time she was on the social media sometime last year, I think, or the year before, with the same plight. And number one, she's getting a taste of her own medicine. I sympathize.
Good morning, Kadaki. I heard a snippet of the issue with the doctor yesterday, and I tuned in to listen to her. The caller calls her African sister. We are so loving. She's an African sister with a PPP mentality. Don't get me wrong, it is our democratic right.
Hi, Kadaki. A special good morning. A pleasant good morning to you and the viewers, the listeners. This is my opinion about the doctor. I don't think we should bash her like that. Look, people got problems with the frustration the anger, and we are human beings. We are human. And I just think, I listen to her, and all that I hear is frustration and anger. And I wouldn't say that she don't like to listen or she can't listen, she have a listening problem. Or she have a challenge, listen, I can't how she listen, you know. I don't think so. I just think that she's frustrated. And you know, when the water keep boiling over, the passion and the anger. But I hearing professionalism in her voice. I hearing professionalism in her statements. And I think somebody should call her privately and talk to her. You don't bash her in front of the public like that. Right? And that's my opinion. I don't think she'd have to coffee and to other callers. I don't think she have a listening problem. And if she was a PPP, and she want to go back to the PNC or the APNU, no problem. Bono was a PPP too. A lot of people was PPP and then they're back in the PNC. Around the time. And, you know, Nagamutu. But man, you leave this woman for professional. She might want a little help. Yeah, I don't bash her like that. This is my take, man. Respect.
Morning, Brother Kodaki. Morning to the listening public. Kodaki, in a nutshell, when all is said and done, the PPP government is a racial, wicked, stinking, dirty government. The wicked and them some demons and them some racists, and they're showing it blatant every single day. This is the bottom line with everything. Yes, we understand what the government go out with and this and that and them kind of thing, but the whole thing is that we got to contend with a damn racist and a wicked government, and they're not going to stop until you see something drastic happen, and it therefore come. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you for your call. Your voice note.
Hi, Kedaki. A special good morning. A pleasant good morning to you and the viewers, the listeners. This is my opinion about the doctor. I don't think we should bash her like that, man. Look, people got problems.
Good morning again,
with the frustration,
and the listening
the anger.
I think what happened, we cannot bash the Dr. Solomon, too much. We have to tread carefully because we have to understand this young lady, this young doctor is in a rock and a hard place. And while she wants to come out and say stuff, it playing in her head that I don't want to say everything. And I think what she was doing is not that she didn't listen to you. I think what she was doing, she's trying to talk you over that you gonna follow our lead to get you to answer the things them that she comfortable speaking on air. So we have to sympathize with her. And I believe stress playing a part in her life. You look at she laughing. I will say unnecessarily, actually, she laughing sometimes. I think the stress is getting to her. I think a lot of pressure coming down on her, a lot of people calling her for interview. And there's a lot of things going on in she head. On the other hand, it seems to me like she got a response that she don't want to disclose about from the president's office. Because you cannot say that you'll be discriminated by this group. But at the same time, when you ask her about the president reaching out to her, she said no, but he is going to call. How do she know that he is going to call? So there's a lot of things going on with your mind, and I believe after the last tape that she make, the video that she make by the Stabrook Market, I believe someone from the president's office or somewhere, that's my belief, may call her and tell her that she will get a response. She seems to be a little bit more confident than then, that she gonna get back she work or she gonna play some way. So I believe she accept this interview with you, but she don't want to mess up on the promise that she got again. So yes, we could understand that she, saying a lot, as you tell her that she's a woman with a lot of words. It's true. But let us read through the line. And I'm glad the point that you make, that some of the things that she's speaking about is discrimination. Is discrimination. And we don't ride over that because of our little reservedness that she don't want to forthcome, that she not forthcoming. Let us look at the issue at that. What bring it to this point? Yes, sometimes she keeping back stuff, but let us don't turn our mind that there is discrimination at all level. Let us don't take the out of our thoughts. That is my contribution. Morning.
Thank you for this voice note. And like I said, let us not even think for 1 minute. And having agreed to do an interview like this, and it being advertised widely from yesterday afternoon, that the powers that be and their handlers would not have reached out to Dr. Solomon. Some would have tried to get her, in my estimation, not to do the interview. And some might have promised her, well, we are going to resolve this issue. And so, who knows, maybe that is why she was reserved in saying some of the things that y'all wanted her to say.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki. Good morning to your guests, both at home and in the diaspora. Mr. Kadaki, for the last 2 years, I've been trying to get into the heads of the African Guyanese that are in the PPP camp. Because what I notice is that every time an African Guyanese come out in the PPP camp, is going to say something on social media, is something derogative about African people. So I've been wondering, well, what's going on with these people? How is it they're really thinking? Well, lo and behold, with this young lady today, this interview this morning, gave me a clear idea as to how these house slaves think. Better could never come up until the African Guyanese that are in the PPP camp come out and talk against the ills that the PPP is doing to African. Better can never come. When Charandas, the Judas, saw wrong, as he claimed it, that was done to the sugar people, the sugar workers, he came out and he talked because they are his people. What's wrong with black people? She is an house slave. And you said it before, this is a fight amongst house slaves. Which house slave must go and which house slave must stay in the PPP camp. This is an example of that.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki. But I have listened to that woman, that doctor there, and no one is bashing her. Not a single person is bashing her. But what is going on? She's playing this game two-sided. They promise her to resolve this problem. But if she was smart enough, she could realize that, man, but the time is gone. Look how long they promised me to help me. So she know what's going on. She don't want to tell us. But she know, the streets know what's going on. The other thing that she's doing, she's putting it out there. We know she's smart. We know she's well educated. But why are you being allowed yourself to be trampled upon by these people to make you look dumb? Because you are not dumb, my sister. You are a brilliant woman and you're beautiful. But what you have to do is sit down and realize, what is here for me to protect from this PPP government? Just spill the beans. Spill the beans and let the people know. President Ali is never going to meet with you. A matter of fact, President Ali don't have the education that you have. Don't you realize that yourself? The man buy Ali's degree. You are well more educated than the president of Guyana and the vice president. That's why they're dealing with you like this. All the Frank Anthony you're talking about, they all went to India, Tajmir, and they all went and get their ticket buy from there. All these papers they have hanging up in the wall is they buy it. Money can get you anything you want in this world, my sister. Don't allow yourself to be trampled by people who are not educated like you. But you have to learn to listen, because you're coming up with answers before questions are finished. So that's where your problem is. Spill the beans. You call back Kadaki and tell him you want to do another interview, and you must talk the truth. We want you to talk the truth, or else you ain't getting help. You ain't getting help from people in foreign if you ain't talk the truth. Talk the truth.
The lines remain open. It's 3 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour, and I think I've played all the voice notes relating to the discussion with Dr. Solomon. And I'm also reminding you, especially Al BUXTONIAN on this live, I expect you all to reach out to me on my WhatsApp, 6225933. You know the number. I ain't gotta keep telling you always the number. You know the number, 6225933. Tag the thing. Right? That's the number. It's on the screen there. Reach out to me and let's discuss how we can assist this family, this bereaved family, to bury their dead. They got a big bill on their hand and they can't afford it. Those of you who know the young lady will know that she came from humble beginnings. And so with that tragedy there on the 15th, taxi driver crashed. She flew out of the car and ended up in the trench. She was drowned. We country people like say she drowned it. Right? Let us help our family to offset this expense, please, and thanks. I await your responses, especially our boxing people. You know, it takes a village. It takes a village. It takes a village. It's now 4 minutes past 8 o'clock. I see I'm getting a call. Let this be the final one for the morning. Call A Live, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. A happy Tuesday to you. I have listened to this interview. I listened to her before. But you know what is sad? I know that maybe she might not want to say everything. But as Guyanese, as African, as women, I think we need to give her the support, because you know what it is to qualify for a job and you have a 3-year-old child and you can't buy milk. And every day you're in a state where you're getting might lead to depression, and what can happen to her? Look at the officer that went into depression and got a stroke and they buried him the other day. I can't remember what is his name.
Edmund Cooper.
But I think that Mr. Cooper, so I think we need to rally around this doctor and give her the courage to come out and say what she wants to say. And you know what? We can use her, because when people run afoul and they go to the PPP, even if them is criminal, them is thief, them is this, them is that, they find work and they use them to do certain things. So Dr. Solomon can help us in this fight. We just need to rally around her and forget about the distraction, where she was a part of this and that and that. She come with an issue, she brings certain things to life. We didn't know that was, I mean, it might be the tip of the iceberg, but yes, she's a woman, she has a 3-year-old, and this can lead to depression. We need to rally around her and to help her to be strong. Let us be our brother's keeper. And Mr. Amsterdam, you're doing a wonderful job. God bless you and have a wonderful Tuesday. Bye.
Thank you very much, caller. And I'm happy for this final call, quite frankly. I think this caller wrapped it up nicely for us. Somebody is saying that she seems to have, I can't remember the exact thing, stress issues or so. And my response in the chat was, put any of us in that position. We would have stress issues. We would have stress issues. I'm going to tell you all a story before I leave here. I'll tell you all a story. When the coalition won the election in 2015, I was doing what I always did. Self-employed, involved in private enterprise. I had my private school, Kams School of Because of my involvement in the education sector, particularly in private education, there's a section of the Ministry of Education that deals with private schools, not inspectorate, but there is a position in the office there that has to do with coordinating private schools. So you have to keep them in line, have them get registered, basically ensure that they are part of the system and not necessarily separate, so that education delivery could be flawless, if I can call it that. And I was approached to go work with then Minister of Education, Woodley, to address some of those private school issues, work in terms of streamlining and bringing private schools online and so on. I was asked to make decisions, like, for example, I would have to close my private school if I'm going to take the job, etc., etc. And I, being quote-unquote the party man I am, I closed the private school, sent parents adequate notices and so on to find alternative placing for their children and things. And I was prepared to work with the government to achieve the goals which were set. For more than a year, for whatever reason, my employment couldn't be realized. At that time, I had my son who was in university. I was paying cash for him because I could afford it. But can you imagine your source of income being taken away from you, being closed, whatever you want to call it? And for over a year, you're there eating off of what you have, or eking out a living, as I was calling it. And this thing seems not to be coming to an end in terms of finalizing this employment and so on. And every day is another day in anxiety because fees have to be paid, family has to be maintained, bills have to be paid and so on. Many days I sat and I cried. And I had options, because I could have reached out to people and asked for help, who would have willingly and readily helped, or I could have simply switched my son from a paying student to a loan student. Right? My wife was employed, she was earning and all of that. But I taken my responsibility seriously as the head of the home, or whatever you want to call it. Saw that as me failing in my responsibility, because I couldn't now provide the way I was providing all the time. And that thing caused me some sleepless nights and miserable days and brought me to tears many a time. I don't know, I don't even think my family is aware of that. But I'm saying it to you now so that you can understand the difficulty that I know Dr. Solomon is faced with. You know, just a parent look at a child and contemplate an uncertain future because of not being able to work and not being able to earn according to your capacity. Apart from that, the attack on your character, the attack on your humanity, the attack on you simply because of the color of your skin, or simply because you dare to stand up for what is right. Those things mess with your psyche. And so it's easy for many of us to come and say, the doctor behaving like she got mental issues. The doctor behaving like she's stressed. The doctor this and the doctor that. Put yourself in the doctor's shoe. Don't judge me unless you walk a mile in my shoe. That is what it's saying. It goes, I think. Right? That's who feels it knows it. And so that is why many times I step out of my private box and I share my life's experiences, because I like to teach on my own experiences. And many times you see me here and you believe I'm being harsh on people when I interview them in a certain way, or when I make certain comments. No, I'm just being professional. I'm just doing what I was trained to do. Not to say that I don't understand what the challenges are. And I empathize with Dr. Solomon. While saying that she had a platform right now, she had a platform this morning to set the record straight. and to call the PPP and the handlers and the enablers and all of them for what they are. I'm also saying that I understand the difficulty, the rock and the hard place that she's placed between. But I said it and I'm saying it again. My belief is by simply advertising that interview from last evening, we achieve what we were set out to achieve. For her to get a hearing with the government and for them to make it right. That's my belief. Because I know for a fact that many of the big wigs in the government, behind the scenes, having seen that advertisement, would have reached out either to get her not to do the interview or to promise a resolution. As them boys say, watch you right. Have a good day. Have a good day. Goodbye. Join Dr. Hines tonight for Politics 101 and join me tomorrow morning for another program of BUXTONIAN Morning Time. Thursday morning. Stay on the line, please, if you want to talk to me. Thursday morning, I have a big surprise. So you have a Bajan, an independent Caribbean citizen who will be participating in a discussion